Alright, here we go again. Wounded Waters pleading against Prussia. It is the fourth time we played in a regular playlist. There's been one challenge game on the channel, but generally speaking, this is the attempt where we are going with the Serene plus Water Taste of Ruin build. The only one we haven't played against the adversary yet. And this is also the beginning of the series where we play Wounded Waters with the specific healing build into all the adversaries, starting with Prussia. We've done all the others. We completed all adversaries in Roiling, Serene, and in the cross-healing build that goes Roiling into Waters Union. And I think we won all but one game. And the one game we lost was against HLC in Serene Waters with Waters Renew. So let's hope we end this series with no losses and we can look back at almost all wins. Close enough, at least for me. And I think so far it starts pretty good. The hard part about the Prussia matchup is that, like on average, it's pretty easy, honestly. Maybe easy is not the right word, but it's pretty... You should expect to win. Or I at least do. But it can get hard with back-to-back. And if you've seen the challenge game where we play like a death seed against Brandenburg Prussia on board A, then you know what I mean with the back-to-backs. But in this case, we have 3 explorers into lands with just an explorer. And then land 6 might solve itself with a Dahan, and land 7 might solve itself with a Beast. So I think we're just looking at Boon of Corrupted Blood on land 4. And then that's that. Land 3 we just let through. For drafts, we want to hit strong turns 3, turns 4. If we do that, we win. For that reason, we could play Call to Tent. Inflame the Fistfires of Life, I think I generally like more in animal builds. It has really good animal elements. But you know, after... Actually, let me look at this like once more. So Treacherous Waterways would actually be something to consider here for some... Well, I guess we'll get to that. But basically, one quirk of the matchup is that you have to heal water on turn 2 and turn 3, and while it's fairly normal to heal water in one of those two, healing water in both of those is kind of, yeah, awkward. But we'll get to that. So I just executed my Crow, that is moving that presence, and I executed my Quick, that is killing that Explorer. And then we flip the event and ignore it. What is it? Heavy farming. I'm okay with that. I think that is the one that adds towns. No, that's extra damage. And then they build. Build in land 3. Build in land 7. Build in land 6. And let's see. So the hard part about the adversary is the back-to-backs. And we get coastal. So that's sort of a back-to-back, right? That's a back-to-back in land 3. It's not as bad as if the first Explorer was Wetlands, Jungle, but we've played the hard version of this in our challenge game and won that even. So I think this is fine. So we have in slow Sanguinary Taint, and we want to use that to put in the build. Generally speaking, since land 6 did not get explored, it doesn't really need the power, so I'm going to use it on land 1. Snipe that Explorer, prevent the build, push that Dahan into land 5 perhaps, where it's a bit more central. And then end the first turn. Draft a good miner, preferably something... Nature's Resilience. How large will this be? So this turn it ravages for 7. See, this is again one of the cases where it's just a little bit annoying that we are forced to go Serene here. Because I think ideal play is to play Nature's Resilience here for land 3 or something like that. And save the Dahan and destroy the town or something. But of course that means we heal water. I guess we could play it and still heal water, but we would miss out on the innate in slow, because what that would be is we play a card that has animal, and then we set our any element to water, and then it's a tie with one of each, and we don't get any of our innates, but it allows us to heal water. So maybe that is the best line of play. What other options are we looking at? I could just prevent a blight using Torch with the Water's Edge. I mean, that's another thing, right? Playing Nature's Resilience here doesn't actually do more than prevent one blight. And prevent one blight I can also do with Call to Tent or Torch with the Water's Edge. So yeah, I guess in that respect, it's not necessary to force it this turn, just because it's possible. So I'm thinking I'll just draft it for later. Play it turn 4, I think. And then, like, purely speaking in terms of elements, what I should be playing on this turn is Draw to the Water's Edge, because I want to heal water. And then, next turn, I would like to play 2 animal water cards, so I can heal water and still hit a level 2 Sanguinary Taint innate if I need it. It's not a catastrophe if I play something like this instead. This means I have to set my any element to water, and that means I only get level 1 innates even after setting my any element. But with Serene that's kind of alright. But still, I strongly prefer to get level 2 innates. Anyway, I think Draw to the Water's Edge it is, and I think that while land 7 might solve itself, we are going to go for insurance here. And we are going to Draw to the Water's Edge that turn. So we are expecting to take probably on average less than 2 blight, but something like 1.8 blight or something on average in the ravage, just because land 6 is a like 10 or 20% chance to solve itself without taking blight. So maybe that's where we're going. It would be a little bit high if I place a presence in there, but I don't think it's worth killing the presence on average. So we're pulling that into land 8. It makes 8 a worse explorer, but I think we're fine, since the other land of sands is kind of alright. And then I think no matter what explores, we are able to prevent 1 build next turn. That is also always important. Alright, that's our quick, and we flip into Ethereal Conjunction. I could either lose a presence and 1 energy, or can choose to play any non-major card of mine, play it without paying, use it immediately, and then forget it. I know that slow powers get executed right away, even if you do that. And I assume that targeting restrictions still apply though. So if I wanted to, I could Nature's Resilience. No, I cannot because of the targeting restriction of Sacred Sites. Let's read the rest first. Disease does not prevent builds this turn. Oh, a bit annoying. And Dahan here, Blight. Yeah, I could have set it up for that to happen. Like, I know that this kind of event exists. I didn't have any use for my Blight heal this turn. I could have just drawn the Blight into land 5, just on the off chance you see that, but I did not remember to do it. So we don't get that. Crucially, we don't get Dahan defend. So it's a non-unique, otherwise I would probably forget Draw to the Water's Edge here. I could use it on Call to Tent. It would just, remove a blight. No, it wouldn't. Because I haven't set up the blight for Call to Tent to work. I could move the Han. For what purpose? Could save that the Han here. I think I just lose a presence. It's annoying. in the Serene build much more so than in the Roiling build, because you really want your presences on the board. But it is absolutely still within the bounds of what's acceptable. So, land 3 Ravages. Land 7 would not have solved itself, we did not get a beast event. They did that. Land 6, the town dies, and we played. So that is that. Then in Coastal we build. And we do build in land 2. I think that event was not negative, which honestly I'm okay with. I feel we've got like fairly bad explores, not the worst, and we've got fairly bad events, not the worst. And I think that is alright with me. Oh yeah, here we go, back to backs. This is what I'm here for. And then we get the first town placed by the escalation. I'm thinking land 5 perhaps. Like normally I would maybe land 2, but actually there's an argument to be made for land 6. Because if we do land 5, then next turn when the last stage 2 explore card hits, it might be jungle. And if we put that town in there, then we cannot use Svalin Spill to solve the build. And the mountain is still possible. So let's put it in land 6. And then we're in slow and we push these two into land 8. Which to be fair is a 50% of 50% chance of coming up, but if that happens, it happens. I think we'll be alright. Time passes. So let's for once remember to place our presence. So I was not going to Nature Sicilians this turn. Was going to Nature Sicilians next turn. Because I need to heal water this turn. Talking about healing water, we're Serene. We had the most chill version of Wounded Waters Bleeding that can be. At least until we hit level 5. And then or turn 5. And we stop being that. I think we draft a miner here. Yeah, we do. Funny. We got Defend for Animal, but with the downside that it requires Sacred Site, which is kind of awkward if you're playing Serene. You don't want Sacred Sites, especially if you've lost presence. Then Elusive Ambushes, which, you know, don't really have a target for it. That's most of the issue. And then Untrap, which I guess the Isolate does something. I don't really know, man. Seems not like the best draft. Maybe let's think about what we're gonna do this turn first, and then think about what that means for the card we want to draft. So, I cannot solve land 3. I'm just gonna take 2 more blood here. But that is fine. I can solve land 2. But I have to solve it using Nature Sicilians. That's fine. I can call to tent, for sure. If that is our line of play, then it goes something like this. And basically it's blight minimizing. Sadly, it's blight minimizing after we've already taken Blighted Island. Yeah. But I think turn 1 we prevented a blight by preventing that build. Turn 2 we prevented a blight by pulling a town from here. I don't think that we could have prevented more blight, except maybe if we played Wreck with Burning Creep turn 1. But maybe even then we wouldn't have. No, even then. I think we prevented the maximum number of blight and we're still going blighted. And then that's just that. I need to gather this blight into here. That is important. There's another line of play that says, why not take just 1 more blight? I mean, we're gonna heal 1 in slow anyway, right? And that plays something like Call to Tent and then Wreck. And the issue with that is, and honestly another issue with Serene is that Serene works best if you are in the land that you want to work in, and if you have back to back to back in land 3, then you never have a turn where you can be in land 3. Because every turn you place in there, you know you're gonna die. And yeah. So Serene just has its limitations. But the matchup against Russia and England will be okay. If not good. At least, you know, the England matchup will be better than with foiling into Waters Junior. So if this is what we're playing, call to 10 to wreck, then I could next turn hit. Yeah, it's next turn I want to go animal, so it's okay if I have like 3 animal card and 1 water. So I could attempt to throw 10 defend on that using Nature Sicilians and something like Guardian Serpents. And how much damage would it do? Currently it's at 3, 6, 10 damage, so it would build 3 more damage. But Wreck with Pain and Grief would solve that. So basically, if we wanted to, we could. Oh, here's the issue with Call to 10 though. No, it works. I was thinking we cannot use the Blight Gather to gather Blight into a land with the hand, since we had to gather this Blight into land 4 specifically. But I mean, land 6 naturally has the hand and Blight, so. So what you could do here is you could take 2 Blight this Invader phase. Then we go down 1 deep into the Blight card, which we are guaranteed to survive, with at least 2 Blight remaining. And then we heal 1 more in slow, and then we have at least 3 more Blight for the rest of the game, and I expect to take 0 Blight on land 3. I think that works. I think that's the same amount of Blight as if we play Nature's Sicilians this turn, but we get more innates out of it. So that is what I prefer. So that means we are playing Guardian Serpents, play these 2 cards this turn, and that is equal water and animal, so we are healing water. And then we are entirely acting in slow. Or should I say super quick, but for the next round. And we flip the event Investigations of Dangers. Add 1 Explorer to a land without invaders or Dahan. Sure. I'm happy that it doesn't have to be land 7, although actually let's add it to land 7 just to get them eaten by the beast. First time this happens. So also first times I get rewarded for being in lands with the Han. But I can now use one of my slow powers now. And while I rarely want to do that, I think here it's not enough, right? In this line of play. In this line of play, it prevents us from going blighted. But in that kind of line of play that we're looking at, it does not prevent us from going blighted. I guess I'll still heal the blight. No. I think I'd rather heal the blight in slow. There's some small chance that I will have the Han in here or in there, and that I'll heal some blight that's not in land 6. So I think I'd rather heal and do my slow and slow as almost always, honestly. I could also wreck, but I also don't see any reason to wreck. So, yeah. Thank you for the offer, not interested. We're just taking a blight and then we go blighted and see what happens. A 5 blight per player card, so we're safe. Downward spiral. Oh, the OG. Alright. So be it. So be it. That is annoying, of course, but it is also fine. And then they don't build in land 7 because it's empty, and then they build that city in land 3, and then they explore. I think the first case would have been probably jungle, but I think this is also... No, it's okay. So I can just add... And now I have to add a town such that using... What is it? Swell and Spill on 1 terrain type no longer slows it. But we're gonna get exposed into 2 terrain types, so who cares? So here's something I could be doing. I could push from here the Explorer and the Blight into land 5. And I want that because I kind of want better coverage with Wreck. So let's push that Blight into here. I mean, The downside is it cost me 1 downgrade, right? Because the thing that I push, if it isn't Blight, would be a Dahan, if I find a land where that's useful. But I don't really, huh? So I guess... Oh wait, but here's something else. So we need to wreck with Pain and Grief out of here. I guess we can do it still. I was thinking of wrecking into land 4. No, land 4 is building. But I think we can do it. So maybe we start with that. Also, we still have Swell and Spill. Sorry, Sanguinary Taint. So maybe we start with Wreck with Pain and Grief. We push that into here, as is. And that into here, which downgrades this Explorer. Now this again is at... Let me just make sure it's at 11 damage. Which means it's defendable by playing these 2 cards on that land. Although there's some risk with plus damage. But even then it will not cascade and we have 3 million blight. Then that was Wreck with Pain and Grief. Here's a question, do we not blight here because we've drawn a big blight card? Do we rather push the Dahan? Let's see what we get from that. So one other line of play is that we use Sanguinary Taint on land 5 and push the Dahan into land 4. That also cleanly solves 2 things at once. And then we could, but what would we do with our Swell and Spill then? I don't really see a reason. Let's Swell and Spill from here. I'm not sure it's optimal, but I kind of want the blight better spread out. Alright. And then I could, if I wanted to, heal that blight instead of blight in land 6, but I think we're healing that. If I had more presence on the board. So here's what I'm looking at. I still have Sanguinary Taint level 2, and it looks so attractive to hit land 5, kill the town, and then push the Dahan and get a downgrade with that. But we don't get any downgrades because we're not in enough lands. We're not in land 6, which land 8, land 2. All of these would be good downgrade targets, but pushing the Dahan there does not do anything because we had to kill a presence earlier. And I forgot to draw to the water's edge. So that was the real issue. I should have forgotten draw to the water's edge last turn. That is what I should have done. And then now the Sanguinary Taint hit would have downgraded. But since we forgot to do that, no one to blame but myself. We don't get that. So I add a beast. 2 damage, that kills that town. 1 fear, and we push that Dahan, and we push it where it's going to be useful eventually. So maybe land 2. And then here I'll just remove that blight. Again, I don't really have anything where I can push Dahan to downgrade because all the lands I have presence in are already empty. So yeah. And then we play this. We place 2 presence in here. And we forget draw to the water's edge so that we don't have to destroy any presence, at least not before that happens. So just place in there and defend it for 1 million. Honestly, so here's something else you could be doing. Against certain adversaries, and in my view, Prussia qualifies, healing a blight is like defend infinity, right? So maybe we don't even do that. Although, honestly, I want to be in here long term is another thing. So I'm thinking I could just, instead of defending there, I could just remove the blight. Then I'm not even in danger of any risk of extra damage. I'm in risk of, I think, at least 1 card. No, actually, I was thinking there's a card that makes me Ravage there, and then, of course, if I Ravage in a land in which I already have, in which I'm then later, if I Ravage into a land during the event and then Ravage into the land again in the Ravage phase, then we cascade. But I think that is a still healthy event. Not still healthy, it's a healthy island event, so I don't think I'm in danger from that. I think there's some events to add a blight to your land with city, but I think you can destroy presence to prevent that, so I think honestly Nature's Resilience is the safer way to save land 3. Just heal the blight, right? So the question then is, I could go into land 2 instead. I still need a sacred site. I wish I was in land 6. Actually, land 6 is gonna build a fucking city, huh? Here's something I could do. No. Man, that is another issue. Ideally, I would like to be adjacent to both land 3 and land 6 with my sacred site, so that I can Nature's Resilience this land this turn and this land next turn. But I just don't see a reason how that can happen. Okay, something I could be doing, of course, is I could place in here. I could... Maybe that is actually good. Could just gather that out of here into here. And then I could just heal, I don't know, that blight. And then basically that just... Yeah, that seems fine to me. Guardian Serpents is kind of the reason we drafted Guardian Serpents ends up not being relevant in any way. Alright, I forgot to take my 3 energy. But, you know, it's fine. It's still a free beast, which I guess that counts for something, maybe? So we Nature's Resilience, and we heal that blight. We Guardian Serpents, and we add a beast in land 6, because where else are we gonna add it? And we defend for 4. Very relevant. Oh, man. If I want to Nature's Resilience there, next turn, then I need the Sacred Site. We'll see. Because now we're in Blighted Island, and I intended to kill that presence, so that I still am in 4 lands. So the question is, do I need to Nature's Resilience that land again next turn? And I think the answer is maybe not. I can probably Water's Taste of Ruin it. Yeah. They build a city. No, it's absolutely Water's Taste of Ruinable. So I don't need to do anything here with Nature's Resilience. And I just sacrifice that presence. And then we still have 4 lands we're in, at least for 1 more turn. And we flip the event, and we are Life-Swept Torn Asunder. That is the card where you... That is one of the 2 cards that I remember that add Blight unconditionally. But we don't have 6 Blight, we healed enough. So we're not vulnerable. The other card would add a Blight in here because it has 2 Blight. We're vulnerable to the other one, but there wasn't anything to be done about that. I mean, I guess there mostly is, but... Oh, destroy 1 town in a land with beast. Don't mind if I do. So, turns out Guardian Serpents was useful after all. Nice. That is one of the few cards that can save like a town's explorer town land, like we're looking at the start. Keep Fra from the lands of plague. On each board, push 3 the hand from lands with disease to lands without disease. I'm okay with that. I mean, honestly, it was perfect in here. Next best land is land 3. But of course it ravages like every turn. But it's fine. The hand right. Each player chooses a different land with the Han in each 1 damage. I mean, I guess. That makes this even easier to solve, I suppose. Then they ravage. They ravage in land 3. And land 7 is empty, land 4 is empty, and land 6 they build. And then they... It's fine. Eventually, this is actually the worst case explore for turn 1. And it's still pretty bad now, but at this point we are like ready for it. Turn 1, there's not so much you can do. Alright, we're in slow. And we have pretty three effects that we can use. Bloodwater and Bloodlust maybe looks good on land 7 or on land 5. But Sword and Spill looks good on land 5. So maybe we use that there instead. And then Sanguinary Taint probably in one of those 2 lands. Actually, I could Sanguinary Taint land 6. Yeah, that seems pretty good, right? And then I can start using Water Sister Ruin on one of those two lands. Sure, why not? So that's what is secondary taint there. One beast, one fear, kill that town, push that to Han, downgrade that. Then I mean, ideally I would have downgraded in here or somewhere more relevant, but I mean, it's still the same issue that I don't have enough stuff in my own lands. Maybe this means I should have used Violent Spell level 2 actually. No, I cannot. This turn I don't have the option. Then Bloodwater and Bloodlust, I guess we're just adding that on here. I don't like stacking my beasts in lands that are basically empty. There's just some good things that can happen if you have your beast in lands with buildings. Like 2 damage per beast would be a total waste on this board, right? But I mean, what will you do? I'm mostly placing that for the disease here. And then I still have Swell and Spill. I guess I Swell and Spill into here, and that frees the usage of Bloodwater and Bloodlust for one of the other lands. So maybe for land 3. Since that is already diseased. That seems good for me. What happened to that guy? Alright. And then we reclaim, we gain 1 extra energy, which is important, because we lost energy earlier and only drafted 1 cost cards. We're gonna heal Animal for Water Taste of Ruin. And I think out of these, it has to be... I mean, Pact of the Joint Hunt is the better card in general, but I want... Actually, I want Fire more than I want Beast, Sun. So I guess it's between Quicken and Prowling Panthers, and honestly, Quicken is not a power here. It is such an amazing card, but I like the Sacred Site requirement just absolutely kills it. I mean, honestly, wait, I say that, but I could probably make it happen. What am I saying? I think I can just... No, Quicken is correct here, right? How much damage is that? 6, 7, 8, 11 again, and then they're building. They're not building. So never mind, I'm quickening here, and then next turn I will just... Since, I mean, even if I lose presences, and as much as I hate doing that, I can just like... So this presence this turn, this presence next turn, but still plop down a Sacred Site there in land 3. And plopping down Sacred Sites I hate, of course, because Sacred Sites are, you know, add presence to 1 land, when really I want to add presence to 2 lands, but I mean, maybe I just kill the second presence in Downward Spiral and then it's not so bad. So, if I play this next turn, then I need to play these 2 cards this turn. Do not have Dahan in any of these. I think I needed to push them out of land 2 is what I had to do. I wanted to have it in there, man. And then any 1 card. Any card that does anything. Oh, that has Anima is what I wanted to say. And that is, I mean, I don't have a Sacred Site for Nature Sicilian, so that seems like a waste. Maybe I could play that together with that to heal more Blight. Maybe heal that Blight would not be bad. Talking about that, Blight Gathering, is that useful in any way? Since I'm gonna be plopped down in here, I think I'd rather keep my Blight as this. And then Guardian Serpents, maybe you can just say I'm never gonna use it for anything but add a beast anyway, but do I want to add a beast to any of my current lands? Maybe. The strongest card is Wreck, of course. I just don't know if I need it next turn. Because I also need some water plus animal cards. If I do that, then next turn I play this and maybe these 2? No, that's not enough. I need to... I could play these. Or I could play these. And then the last turn, no matter what I do, I probably have cards like this in hand. Which means I would have to draft water plus animal, No, sorry, fire plus animal card to allow me to play one more turn. And I'm probably just gonna reclaim, honestly. Yeah, it's kinda annoying. So if I play Wreck now, then I cannot play Nature's Resilience, is what it comes down to, if I see that correctly. So maybe just play that. I'm probably not gonna play all of my cards, as much as I hate it. Actually, wait, if I... Oh. And then next turn I play this and that, right? And then I don't play Nature's Resilience either, huh? So I guess since we're not gonna play all cards anyway, let's just play the best cards we have, I suppose. I mean, there's some chance that we get to play all of our cards before we reclaim, but it's pretty low. So what is Taste of Ruin? We gather, say, this beast into here. Yeah, this land doesn't have adjacent beasts. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Could use it on that land too. Is that better? Where would I put? I would have to push into here. Is that okay? No, I think I'd rather do it in land too. So I gather into here. Through fear. Kill that city. And then push out this. Into here as an explorer. And into here as an explorer. That has some measure of danger until I Boon of Corrupted Blooded. After which it no longer has some measure of danger. So worst case I draw blast damage and get one blight. No cascading. Alright, did I do my fear? Yeah, I did my fear. So yeah, land 2 looks easily solved with, for example, Wreck. And then next turn, land 3 is probably also easily solved. Sorry, that... I cannot just move that without destroying presence, so I need to destroy presence. I'll destroy this presence. Power fades. Destroy 2 presence. I'd rather not. Forget 2 powers if I have to, but I think I'd rather just remove 1 blight from the game, right? I have so much blight. I mean, it has to have some upside that you draw downward spiral, right? If you never use the extra blight, then it's really just a disadvantage. We're just gonna do that. We are just going to do that. Sand Fever outbreaks. I get to add disease to land 8. That is fine by me. And then I gain 1 energy. That I appreciate, actually, a lot. And then we're still terror level 1. Man, the fear game has not been fantastic. Panic. The terror level 1, I just add Strife to some land with tokens. Sure, do it to land 3 as insurance that in case the event draws plus damage, land 3 is still defendable by 10 defend. Too many monsters. I get to remove stuff from lands with beast. Land is solved. Nice. I mean, yeah, I guess. And then we ravage. Nothing happens here. Nothing happens here. And then we build. Remove 2 disease, otherwise nothing happens. And then we get the explorer so that every land now acts. That works for me. There's like 1 more land? No, actually I added in all lands. Alright. Add that to the event again. So, Bloodwater and Bloodlust, Wreck with Pen and Grief. Land 2 just looks kinda solved. Land 3, I'm probably going to use Water's Taste of Ruin on. Honestly, with Quicken, you might even actually be able to kill all the buildings. Am I also able to kill all the explorers? Let's say I Quicken it for damage. That's basically 3 damage. And then I'll use Boon of Corrupted Blood again, maybe? For a 4th damage if I have to, and then that does 3 damage. So basically it kills all the buildings, but I don't need to kill that town since I push it out. So it kills the cities and 1 explorer, and then I push out the wounded town and the explorer. But wherever I'm going to push them, they're gonna act, right? So I have some options here. I still don't know what I want to wreck, honestly. Probably want to wreck that. I also have secondary turn, and I really would like to push something into one of my lands. Like I could into land 5 and then do that maybe, or into that, yeah. Maybe let's start with this. We gather... these turn to here and we downgrade the Explorer in the process. And then I... one fear, add a beast, kill that town, push that Dahan. Push it into here, prevent a build. And then we Bloodwater and Bloodlust this land, maybe the beasts will eat them. And... did I wreck with Pen and Grief? Yeah, entering slow phase, 2 fear generator, that must have been wreck. Yeah, so that was my slow. Time passes. Alright. Then I'm opening the Reclaim 1 slot. And then I can choose which of these 2 cards I reclaim, and the other card I play kind of depends on that. If I reclaim Bloodwater and Bloodlust, then the other card must be Guardian Serpents for the Sun. If I reclaim Pool of Corrupted Blood, then the other card must be called to 10 for the water, right? So which of these would I rather? I mean, Guardian Serpents just... I don't have that Dahan for my defense is the issue, right? That, with the board being how it is, getting Dahan into here is just not trivial. Especially if they're like... except for the initial Dahan, all the Dahan start on the top half. And then was just not that easy to get them down there. I think maybe in turn 3 I could have gone for the water level 2 innate. But otherwise, take 3 energy from my growth. Alright. I don't like that I have to gather a beast. Is that trick? Yeah, it's not optional. I guess it's fine. I'll add the beast here and I'll add 2 fear and I do 3 damage. Actually, I could just defend that still, right? What if I just defend that? I'm not that far away from victory and no town victory, but the issue is they're building a bunch. I guess they're only building in one land, right? So maybe the play is to prevent land 6 from building, and then I don't have any buildings on the board except for land 8 and land 3. And then I can clear that in slow. And next quick. How many buildings could this destroyer downgrade? The answer's not that many, huh? I mean, the town it pushes gets downgraded and dies, I suppose. So I could either like take care of that or take care of that. If I move into land 8, basically everything dies. But I don't get fear for it, except for the basic fear. But maybe that's just better, huh? What about the town they built there? They might still get eaten. Yeah, I think I do that, so I move into here. 2 fear, I've already done that, right? It says 2 fear generated down here. So then they do damage to each other. Basically, the town kills the explorers and the explorer does that. And then I push it and it gets downgraded to explorer. The explorer has 1 damage, so it dies. No fear from that, and no Dahan push regrettably because I don't have many Dahan, and it's just in bad lands as always, but -1 building I need to kill. And that building might still get... sorry, the rest is that I quicken the US Jagger here. And I guess I kill 1 explorer here. There's a chance that it matters. Actually, maybe I just kill an explorer in land 3. Actually, land 3 is safe, right? I have a strife. So it's like defended enough for sure. I would need blast damage and strife ignore. I don't think there's any effect that does that. Ideally I would kill that, but whatever. Alright, then we have to kill a presence. Again, gonna kill that presence. Downward Spiral, man, such a fun card. The world's vibrance fades. Remove 1 blight per player from the blight card. How much is it? I have the blight. I have the blight. And I'd rather not disturb the presences. So, Beast Chase of the Homesteaders. Yeah, that is one of the cards that does what I want. The issue is, what happens here then? Sorry, what actually, I pushed that into here, I pushed that into here. That solves it, right? Yeah, perfect. So, using Water Space of Ruin into land 8 really did pay off, because land 8 wouldn't have solved itself, but land 6 solved itself, so. And that was, like, foreseeable. Waiting and Retaliation, we don't have any land that qualifies. We get 1 level 2 fear card, and it's in each land with 2 or more as angry mobs. So basically I get to destroy this town. I'll take it. And then I get me a new fear card. Panic by Wild Beast. Invaders skip their... That is a beast payoff fear card, if I've ever seen one. Invaders skip their regular actions in lands with beast. Okay. I mean, not the Ravage, but the Ravage I've dealt with. Let's just add a Strife here. I don't know. And then they Ravage in here, and, well, nothing happens but that they lose the Strife. Oh man, this land needs either a Dahan or a town, but I can make that happen. Just need to remember to do that. And then they die, nothing happens here, this is empty. And then they don't build anywhere. And then I flip that, and they don't explore anywhere except for land 4. But land 4 does not come up, so yeah. That card, Panic by Wild Beast, when you have, like, when your board has beasts like mine does, pretty good. So, I have multiple options to win that game now. I think the one I like is 1 fear, add a beast here, push that into here using Sanguinary Retain, basically just for the Dahan move. And then I can use Call to Tent on that land still to get rid of that. And then we still end with 4 blight on that card. And then we're done. Time passes. Reclaim or gain an energy and 1 extra energy. Draft a miner. Oh, 0 cost. Nice, I'll take it. We play Boon of Corrupted Blood. We play Wreck with Pain and Grief. We play Bloodwater and Bloodlust. If I had a Sacred Side, I would also play Nature's Sicilians just to heal 1 more Blight. But I don't. Like, I have so many Sacred Side powers. I mean, most of them are good. Guardian Serpents. So. But it did kill a town, Guardian Serpents, so maybe I should not complain. And then we gather this beast into here. 2 fear. Kill that city. Then push out that town into here, and that explorer into here. Putting that town into here downgrades it into an explorer. And look at what we've got. Victory turn 7 fast. Yeah, so about that game. It was pretty... I liked it. It was challenging in that I had pretty bad explore order. Not the worst, but pretty bad. I had pretty bad events, honestly. And my fear game was pretty weak too. I had a couple of good drafts, mostly Nature's Sicilians, and eventually Quicken. I don't think I needed Quicken, but it was still nice. The Nature's Sicilians draft was... I mean, in the end it was a Blight here in Quick. But still. Still, some of the cards in here are high quality. And it just felt so awkward to be playing Serene Waters, man. I think this game would have gone so much easier if I played that with Roiling. I wouldn't have had to do weird turns, weird things turn 3, just to ensure I heal water. I would have been able to kill cities with Serene with Sanguinary Taint, and I would have basically been able to act better on the board with few presences, since I would not have been so hamstrung by only being able to downgrade in my lands. I could have just nuked in lands that I'm not in, and pinged Dahan between lands that I'm not in. Like if you ping a Dahan from here to there in Roiling, that kills that Explorer. In Serena does nothing, because you're not in land 8, so I guess Dahan movement is worthless. Yeah, so I feel the game went well, but I just felt at every turn that I wish I was Roiling Waters. Let's see how the other games go, but so far I feel confirmed in my judgment that Serene Waters plus Water Taste of Ruin is on average the weakest build. We will see. We will see. Anyway, good game.